So yesterday we followed Jesus from Bethphage to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. Today we're going to go back to reading in John chapter 12 verses 1 through 11 and hear these words. 6 days before Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Lazarus and his sisters hosted a dinner for him, and Martha served, and Lazarus was among those who joined him at the table. And then Mary took an extraordinary amount, almost 3/4 of a pound, of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She anointed Jesus' feet with it, then wiped his feet dry with her hair. The house was filled with the aroma of perfume. Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, complained, "This perfume was worth a year's wages. Why wasn't it sold and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He carried the money bag and would take what was in it. Then Jesus said, "Leave her alone. This perfume was to be used in preparation for my burial, and this is how she has used it. You will always have the poor among you, but you won't always have me." Many Jews learned that he was there, and they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. The chief priest decided that they would kill Lazarus too. It was because of Lazarus that many of the Jews had deserted them and had come to believe Jesus. So Jesus had been in the town of Bethany, which is also a little suburb of Jerusalem, and he'd been staying with his close friends, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And there they had dinner with a group of people. And Mary does the unthinkable. She pours out perfume, very expensive perfume, a very large amount of very expensive perfume. And I want you to picture this scene as Mary is on her knees at the feet of Jesus, pouring out 3/4 of a pound of nard. And then she wipes his feet with her long hair. I want you to picture this. Smell the smell of that perfume. This becomes an act of gratitude. This becomes an act of humility and an act of worship. And I wonder, how can we worship in such a way during this Holy Week? As we are not together like Mary, Martha, and Lazarus and the other disciples. We're used to coming together during Holy Week at noontime to worship and to share a meal together and to celebrate together, but now here we are, not being able to gather together socially and worshiping in our own homes by ourselves. But Jesus is in our midst anyway. How might we experience the grace of Jesus this day? And how might we bow down to worship Jesus this day? People came flocking to see Jesus, but they also came to see Lazarus as well, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. And they came to see the wonder and the power that Jesus exhibited. But the priest felt threatened by Lazarus as well as by Jesus, because the people were following Jesus instead of the priest. And so the priest plotted to kill both Jesus and Lazarus. And I think this whole story tells of unprecedented actions. Right now we are experiencing unprecedented times, and we are having to take unprecedented actions. But this is what we know, that Jesus never leaves us or forsakes us. Jesus left those disciples for 3 days, but he came back. And he sends his Holy Spirit to be with us so that he is with us even here today. And we know that Jesus is right here, right now. And we can worship Jesus in spirit and in truth. And we can experience Jesus' grace and his love and even his glory today. From Bethany to Bethphage, from Jerusalem to Calvary to the empty tomb, Jesus challenged the status quo and changed the course of history. How is the Holy Spirit working in us today to challenge and change the status quo for us who call ourselves disciples of Jesus Christ? What newness of life might Jesus be calling us into right here, right now?